Yeah. Rouse and wow up. And up. Yeah, Ralph. Give it in. Yeah, get her off the seat. Love is a burning thing, and it makes a fiery ring. Bound by wild desire, I fell into a ring of fire.
Good afternoon. I'm Jordan Roth, and you're watching episode 10. This time it's episode 10. It's been episode 10 in my mind for a little while of Dallaesthetic, and we are going to have some fun today with my friend and fellow, well, I'm not an artist, artist Brian Jones, who shows at Row 2 Art and is part of Chuck and George, and basically kind of the ringleader of the Dallas art scene, in my opinion, one of them anyway. But one joke that I've always kind of said, it's not really a joke, but when somebody tells me they met Brian Jones and he's so nice, I say, oh, he must like your work, because he might not have been nice otherwise.
Give him 5 minutes.
Yeah, give him 5 minutes. Anyway, Brian Jones, welcome.
Howdy. Hi, Jordan.
Hi. So thanks for joining us, and us being us, I guess, and Ziggy over there. You've got an exhibition that opened on Saturday called Spin, Burn, Repeat.
Yes, I do.
Tell me about it. No, okay, yeah, tell me about it.
My hands are still sore. It's another in my series of the perpetually burning big text animated painting series. This one is 32 images at 16 frames per second, so it's like 2 seconds of animation. I only completed like 18 of the paintings for the show, but the room couldn't hold anymore. And true, and without losing the linear quality. And they're a little more obtuse, you can see from the scene in the background.
We can actually show the evolution of big text. I was going to save that for later, but let's look at that, because we can, if we're going to talk about where they are now, we'll talk about where they came from.
And they are self-portraits as big text.
Yeah, so intellectual property people, be aware of that.
I believe this one was done in 2010 or 2011. It was when he was wearing the yellow Dickies costume,
and that's actually big text on fire.
Yeah,
and I got that from the Houston Chronicle. I don't know if
they're the ones that set the fire.
I'd heard that. I had heard that. Yeah, and then you had an idea, right?
Yeah, well, I had already been painting myself as this giant puppet man, because I'm a small puppet man and I wanted to be giant. And it was just,
And so this is like how
timing.
you got ready for each frame. So instead of like using video of big text on fire, you stood in front of a green screen and on a Lazy Susan and were moved incrementally.
Yes, and I do have a costume, but I also have a black and white costume, which is easier to draw from.
Oh, nice.
And make my own color choices. that looks just like me right there. That one.
That one.
Yes.
So one might think that would be the end of Big Tex, as Brian as Big Tex on Fire, but no. So then you began to work on these tondos where you've abstracted them.
It's kind of a mathematical deconstruction, which I've always been kind of interested in, and my sophomoric math brain, as well as my kind of strange art brain.
Well, they do quite a bit, because there's a little bit of pop. There's like this contemporary minimalist thing, but then it's not minimalist
It's kind
at
of
all.
I think of it as a shimmer in time, kind of like that, you know, when it's just kind of.
And then that's the band, what's the band?
White Denim.
So you did a video for them after they saw your video.
They saw my video and commissioned a video of them. I didn't have much time to work on it, but I did what I could, and I'm pretty proud of it for the most part.
What does Big Tex drink when he's in front of a green screen?
That is a cocktail, a vodka cocktail.
Okay.
And I think I might have brownie residue in my teeth or something.
Oh, gosh.
That's why I'm making that face.
Oh, okay. So.
It's not a Little Debbie brownie.
Oh, good.
Those are bad for you.
They are. They
Yes.
are. So now Big Tex is a little bit more bulbous.
I often lean towards the more corpulent things often, and you know, chubbies and stuff. But this one it's the illusion of that. It's kind of because it's a distorted lens, and like a carnival house kind of lens,
Yeah.
you know, mirror, where the hands get blown out, and
That actually makes a lot of sense.
it's like an orb, like Hans Holbein. I forget what the technique was, but Hans Holbein, an 17th century painter, I believe, would do things like that. And he would put them in wedding portraits, and it would be like a strange skull, but you could not see the skull unless you had a metallic orb or something like that. It was distorted. Anamorphic, is that?
And yeah, anamorphic.
Yeah.
Have you seen yourself in front of? Well, of course you have. In front of those mirrors. Is that what you look like in front of one of those mirrors?
That's what I look like in my mind.
Okay.
When I look in front of the mirror.
So, before we go into like your selfies and stuff, because I want to talk about that as well, but I want to talk about you lean towards corpulent
Yes.
people a lot, and I didn't bring any images today of Eat Your Vegetables, which was your exhibition last year.
Yes, true.
But little
Orphan Antichrist.
well,
Actually, that's somebody else.
was she Lottie? Like little Lottie.
Little Lotta.
Little Lottie. Yeah.
It's a Harvey girl from the Harvey comics. It's
So
kinda-
she ate too much, and it was just a disaster.
well, she had peanut allergies.
Yeah, I mean that was the main thing.
She wanted Whataburger, and her mom, being a good mother, said, no, let's have some mixed vegetables. And she did not look for the peanut warning labels.
It was probably
And,
stir fry.
It was just random. I don't know how watermelon got into
Oh yeah,
a bag of mixed vegetables, but it looked good in the comic books.
yeah. So, but this is like an ongoing theme. So a lot of your work over the years, a lot of it is kind of autobiographical, or it's referencing yourself. Some of it references like art history at times, and then a lot of times there are chubby girls.
I'm a cruel person. I need to. My desire is to focus onto the autobiographical. I can't even say it.
Autobiographical.
I'm part hillbilly. And I've had a really interesting childhood in life in ways, and it's a lot of destructive things, and I need to focus that lens that I put on everything else onto that, and I haven't been brave enough to do such a thing, and I'm past the point where I should do it. My mother has passed away, and I'm over 50. I have an audience of people that respect me in the city, so it's time to do something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard one, and
Yeah.
I've never allowed myself to touch these stories, but I am a horrible storyteller.
I don't know about that.
I can't. I mean, Yeah, they're horrible stories sometimes. I mean, just people cry or something. I'm like, what? Why are you
Well,
crying?
yeah, that happens.
They get upset.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I sometimes
I
tell
see
those
the humor
stories,
in
too.
those things.
So, but
I'm having a little more fun.
Yeah.
With these things.
I think the little fat girls, I've always wondered about this. And I don't know if there's any truth to just this kind of hypothesis that I formed. But it seems like, do you relate at all to the little fat girls?
I think it's a fetish, honestly. And the first time I went to Six Flags as a young teenager, I had a SLR camera. And minimum wage was like $3.15 back then, and I don't know how much money I spent to get a huge amount of photographs developed. And when I got them, it was this chubby people's knees, elbows, and the backs of their necks, where the corrugated hot dog look, and it was just like, what's wrong with me? I just spent like a ton of money on these photographs, and it was like a window into my sick brain, and I felt really cruel. But
'cause you've always been thin, or for the most part, in your adult life.
yes,
Were you a fat little kid?
No, I had my first growth spurt sent me out into the horizontal aspects.
Yeah.
And I have stretch marks along my backside from, just having a quick, short, fat existence, and then it went back up, But I kind of wanted to be fat.
Yeah.
And I used to push my gut out a lot and really try to look like an adult that was around me, because I thought that was like a crown of achievement, this big belly. And I'm not after that now.
But rather than kind of like creating something that makes it feel as if you're bullying little fat children, and I keep saying fat children and stuff, and it sounds awful that I'm saying it that way, but it seems like you're doing it with a little bit of love and a little bit of jest, but not at them for being fat, at them for doing the other silly things that they do, like eating too much. I'm just kidding.
I'm not sure I have them eating very often. They just kind of. I went to a series of them praying a lot.
Yeah,
they were hopeful
girls.
Hopeful girls, and
those are great.
And they were really unhappy girls, and they wanted. I'm not sure what they wanted, but they were unhappy, and I guess I exploited that.
I think you're channeling the little fat girl that's inside all of us.
Yeah, it's possible.
I do think that's maybe what's happening here.
I've never been comfortable having art talks about particularly that work, because it's a guilty.
Yeah.
It's a guilty id thing. It is. I can't defend it.
Right.
And especially in this day and age of war, we need to not create that kind of.
Oh yeah. Body shaming and all of
yes,
that.
Yes, I would never. I don't body shame.
Yeah,
my
so that
friends.
I've never.
Yeah. Well, maybe.
And it doesn't seem like that's what that's about. It never did. So going back to doing more self-referential work or portraits and stuff, I want to play a little fun compilation that I put together with some of your selfies, and that's you as a fat girl.
It's more about the boobs than anything.
Yeah, and when you don't have boobs, they're kind of intriguing.
I own the boob.
You are oh, that's true. You are. So these are various images that I found. A lot of them are big text. A lot of them are. I like this one a lot. Do you still have that painting?
No.
It's so cool. But you've been doing these, as you can see from here, for a really long time. And then this is kind of part of a greater body of work, or maybe a ritual that you and your partner, Brian Scott, of Chuck and George, which you're part of, have
Chuck.
been. You're Chuck.
I'm Chuck.
Yes, you are Chuck. And George is Brian.
He's Brian
Scott. Yes. And so and there you are as the
crappity elf,
which hopefully makes it every Christmas. because at this point we don't really care for Santa. We'd much rather have the crappy
I
elf.
actually get to really be myself in that costume.
Yeah, I mean, totally.
Yeah,
it's
I
great.
offend a lot of people
It's just too cute, though. I mean,
in
it really
a nasty,
is.
mean little way.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yes.
Well,
It takes me days to get out of that character.
yeah, because you really, you really do get into it, and I can tell you're probably doing some studies like in costume, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Costume endurance tests is often what there's no videos of that here.
No, there aren't.
That's what the me and the moo and the boobs, that was a costume endurance reference, pretty much.
To see how long you could do it.
No, I just to test the costumes, I would get up in front of a camera and see how they look
Oh yeah.
from
yeah.
angles,
Yeah.
see how they move, if I could river stomp in them, or do
Can
a
you
mop.
river stomp?
If the costume's right.
You can.
Well, I can fake it.
Okay.
You just stomp around, right? Or I do a nice Molly Ringwald dance from Breakfast Club, and it's got to be the right costume. And so I got to see if the boobs or alien eyeballs fall off, or wings, or so it's an endurance test. And so, it's just a way of testing them, and often they're very rough. People really enjoy them sometimes. They can be vulgar, I don't know, but they're not for people. They're just kind of like, how does this butt look, and with additional butt cheekage or something.
I think, and as Chuck and George, the two of you have done kind of self-referential work
Yes.
almost entirely.
It's true. It's true.
And it's kind of fun because you'll recreate your dining room, and then like this TV. Well, I guess it's the TV in your dining room, which isn't really a TV. It's an art TV.
Yes, it's an art TV.
And in any media, like there's like ceramic, there's paper mache, prints, paintings, drawings, furniture. Oh yeah, I mean
underwear,
and like the videos, and then like the dioramas, and a book.
Yes.
So it's really an astounding project that's been going on for how long?
27?
That's
28,
amazing.
28 years.
That is amazing.
Yes.
And
We still like each other.
that's wild. And
I'm the boss.
oh, okay. Well,
No, I'm the Dream Crusher. I'm the Dream Crusher.
I've heard that
That's
before.
my title.
I have heard that.
It needs to be a song.
It does need to be a song by I don't know.
Yellow. I don't know.
Yellow. Yeah. So, as Chuck and George, you've kind of made a place in Oak Cliff where your home, which is basically, in my mind, sort of an outsider art museum, or a local art museum, a Dallas art museum.
We have a pretty good collection of local artists,
Yeah.
young and old.
Yeah, and it's
90-year-old artists.
amazing, hung to the ceiling, and well curated, and just crazy curated as well.
Ever changing.
And then you have your own work there, just mixed in, and it's really overwhelming at first when you walk in. My jaw dropped to the floor practically my very first visit, and I could barely regain any composure.
Consciousness.
Yeah, and but now I just, it's like old hat. But I see people when they walk in for the first time, and they are all just as stunned as I was. And then you, excuse me, you've got your studio next door, which is great.
Yes.
And then every year you do the Oak Cliff Speed Bump Studio Tour.
Well, we don't call it a studio tour. Just last year was the first time we had our studio open.
Oh,
for the
right,
tour,
yeah.
and it was really awesome. We've only had our home in the tour, and so that's why we never called it a studio tour. And I'm not even sure. Originally, it was the Oak Cliff drive-by, but
but then
we used to do things more by committee back then.
Yeah.
And we became the committee.
Yeah.
Because we do the website, we do the contacting. We hand paint the signs that you put in your art yard, and it's all about, and it's something that's all about community. It's all about who's there, and we never get to go on the tour, but we often showcase an artist in our dining room, and we have a peephole gallery that is behind a little peephole, and every year it's a different artist, and it's always a treat.
It's always really cool.
We get to have this art in our house. The
Yeah.
peephole usually stays for about a year, and it is a treat to see that, and you know. When you think you're done seeing everything on the wall,
then there's like there's a whole nother show.
Yes.
I think that peephole sort of gave us kind of the idea for doing a gallery under the stairs.
Oh yeah.
In the Cedars, because it's like, oh wait, we've got another little space.
It's and I've often shown in your bathroom.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. Crappity Elf.
I call it the Row 2 Loo.
The road, yeah, Crappity Elf every Christmas in the Row 2 Loo.
I need to do a Crappity Elvis.
I know,
because he died on the throne.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So there has to be a Crappity Elvis.
Gotta be.
And I'm sure there are still some Crappity Elvis fans.
I do have an Elvis costume somewhere, actually.
I'm sure, yeah. So let's look at, speaking of Chuck and George, we're going to look at a tribute show that was done for you, the two of you, by several artists. Just a few images. So, but that's you guys.
Yeah, that's...
So that's you and Brian, and that's from your Table Scrapping series, which there's the limited edition portfolio, and then that's like morphed into a couple other versions.
That's from the crust above our fireplace that we have.
And then who made those?
Anna Meyer. She is currently in our peephole right now.
Awesome.
Those are exquisite.
They are exquisite, yeah. And so Brian Scott is always the devil, and then you're always kind of like a puppet.
It's kind of a Krampus devil, and I'm like some sort of ventriloquist skull thing.
Yeah.
I'm rather
kind of
cheap.
like a Howdy Doody-ish character.
That's me, yes.
Look
at that one.
Who did that one?
Rusty Scrooge.
Oh, Rusty.
Rusty
Of
Scrooge.
course Rusty did that. What am I
Rusty
thinking?
Scrooge.
Yeah. So how many artists do you know of that while they're living get to have like a retrospective, not even of their work, but of like 60 artists doing work for them
I don't
in
know,
tribute?
you're going to make me cry because I cried at the opening.
I know.
And I did find out about the show beforehand, and Brian and I, my partner, went in and repainted the hallways, the gallery hallway,
Like your
like our
dining room.
home. That
Yeah.
way, like when it was photographed, it would be kind of like, whoa, is this in our house?
I know.
You know.
I mean,
And,
it's really something. I've never seen anything quite
Bruce
like that
Webb.
before.
from the Webb Gallery.
Yeah. And
There's pieces that weren't even in the show. It was a bunch of 8-year-olds had done
that was the coolest thing.
that was the coolest thing.
So
One of them has glasses, and one of them has glasses not.
yeah,
And they're
that's right.
poets too.
And they're like not bad little drawings that you can
Teresa
tell who's
Mahan.
who. Yeah, I love that one.
It's large. It's hard to
Yeah, that was a
display.
big one.
She Googled us, and that's what she came up with, and she painted the Google search.
Not bad. It almost looks like there's another painting superimposed on it. I think
there's George Bush,
that's just style.
and
Who did that?
that is what's his name? Hair Metal Tuesday. What's his? Why can't I remember his name? I'm gonna have like a. He's wonderful. I have some of his art in our house.
Well,
Hair Metal Tuesday is like his Instagram, and I have not seen him in so long that I have forgotten.
well,
his
Hair
name.
Metal Tuesday. We can look that up.
I know. He's one. I have a beautiful Darth Vader that he painted.
Oh, I think I know that painting. Yeah.
I'm shocked. Our brains are not programmed for more than 150
I think that's
social
true.
connections.
I think that's true.
And it's difficult when everybody has usernames and
Oh my
real
gosh.
names, and then you got to remember their dogs and children and wives and husbands.
Yeah, and then you know them in
Their-
person
their favorite
and
beer.
online.
Yes.
Sometimes you know them online and in person and you don't realize they're the same person. I've had that happen with Instagram, especially. It's why don't you have Instagram? I have Instagram. Well, I've never seen you. Yeah, you have.
That's because I'm Hamburger Wednesday or something.
Yeah,
it's
people are getting way too creative with their Instagram names.
my brain is sidetracked with that name now. So
Hamburger Wednesday.
no.
Hair Metal Tuesday.
The lovely sweet artist that did that portrait of us. So
Well, you'll figure that one out. So let's see. What do we have next? So I think every so often you'll probably revisit, some Little Fat Girls, and you'll probably revisit some Big Text, but you're talking about how you might do some like actual autobiographical work.
yeah, I need to. That's why I started the zine, but never quite fulfilled what I set out to do. I thought if I had started the zine, then it would I would have a deadline.
Yeah.
And I would force myself to do this, and it's strangely difficult. I've never constructed art about my life so much, and the art is very insular. Especially Chuck and George is very insular. It's all about us.
Yeah.
And
you get to share that sort of with all the people you know.
Yeah, but there's only tidbits.
Really?
There's no there's not my relationship with my mother's not in this these series. And it's a rich source. People know the stories.
Yeah.
I find myself talking way too much about these things, but some people find them humorous. I realize at some points that I'm standing on a curb.
Yeah.
Up above a group of people, and they're all looking at me, and there's like maybe 15 people looking at me, and they're listening to something I'm talking about, and it's a moment of self-awareness that makes me very nervous, and I just turn around and go, gotta go, and it's I don't always expect perfection, of course, but I want it to be right when I do it, and that's why I've never did the stories when I was in school or even at all, and just as stories.
I think about narrative works that you've done that are kind of presented like comic strips.
Yes, this is
like the Grey Gardens that you did a couple years ago. Anyone that wants to see any of these things, chuckandgeorge.net.
Chuckandgeorge.net
has the whole archive.
You
all
can
the
look
work.
at Chuck and George, Brian Jones, and Brian Scott.
Yep. And then you can. A lot of the work is available through the gallery as well, through Road to Art.
And Chuck and George has a big show coming up in Galveston, the Galveston Art Center.
That's fantastic.
Dennis Nance. It's a pretty website, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's an awesome place. Chuck. It's a great website. Galveston's fantastic.
Yes, I can't wait.
What's the date?
It's in June.
June. Okay, we'll make sure to not schedule something that weekend.
We're going kind of pro-science on it, and I believe we're doing a collaboration with Celia Eberly.
Oh my God!
And that we've been trying to get off the.
Wow! How cool is that?
We're excited. We worship her.
Yeah.
By the way,
I can see why.
She knows that.
Yeah.
I worship you, Celia.
She's amazing. Well, that's really exciting. And that's in June, and you've had a lot of shows around the different art centers in Texas, from Marfa to Fort Worth to obviously the ones in Dallas to Houston.
Arkansas.
Arkansas. You've had a New York show, a Memphis show.
I'm not sure I've had a New York show.
Didn't you have one at
No, it was, they decided to close their gallery.
Oh.
Usually the galleries close after we show.
Sometimes.
It's kind of, we're like the kiss of death or something. And like the MAC, actually, we were the second to last for the MAC.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course, the MAC is reopening.
Chuck and George said we're not represented by a gallery, but we often show in a non-commercial galleries.
Right.
We show in educational things, perhaps universities, and we need to get better about perhaps asking for grants or something.
For sure.
Yeah. It'd be nice to have a bathroom in our studio.
It would be.
Yes. We have free internet because the house is next door, but
You could have an internet bathroom.
Internet bathroom.
A public internet bathroom.
Totally.
So
I need a new tooth.
And he needs a new tooth. Okay. Okay, so I want to show the video that you did a couple years ago of burning big techs,
Okay.
which is, this is where you took 48 paintings and made a 24 frame per second video.
And the paintings range from 7 feet
To
to
like
6 inches,
Yeah.
and there's some black light paintings.
and round paintings or
Yeah,
ovals.
there was some.
And I've just never seen anything like that before. So let's play that. So cool.
You can see
You can see those frames. So you got it all to register using that number. So as long
Yeah.
as you lined up that number, you were able to. Now the zooming
It's
in the computer.
It's in the video editing
Okay.
process, and then I threw in the drawing.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
Strangely enough, the new video has a much more refined drawing, but then I didn't use it. I blew it out, so it was kind of a lot of pre-work before the actual paintings get started. This one was very loose watercolors often. I really liked how the smoke and fire charged out with the watercolors. So I was enjoying the technique.
Yeah, a video made from watercolor is just so cool. I mean, just the thought of it. And then the images being created from
It's like
from
a
life.
circus ride at this moment.
Oh,
Like
at this point, yeah.
It gets the 4 points.
And then this is your, yeah, I loved it. Oh my gosh. I could watch that at least once a month or more.
I had tossed around the frontal view of him burning, myself burning, but it's rather blasé. I wanted the spin, and it created this seamless, point in time.
Yeah.
That never just burned down.
Yeah.
It's just caught in the moment.
Totally. And that was a moment that we can remember kind of fondly for a while.
I had so many ideas of maybe using him, replacing him in the Hindenburg video where the Hindenburg burns and the crowd screams, and I thought that's a little.
We could do that
It's a little
at
harsh.
some point. It is a little harsh. Well, I think we've had a live.
Make him chubbier.
You could, and that might, yeah. So we've had a lively discussion.
Yes.
And I think we're out of time. Yeah, I believe we are. So take a look at chuckandgeorge.net. Come see Brian's show at Row 2 Art up through the 13th of October. Just opened. And at the gallery, you'd also see Alex Paulus, who was in our last episode, and then Alex Revere, who did an installation under the stairs, in the gallery under the stairs. So
It's party up front and business in the back.
it is.
Yeah.
I'd say, yeah, I suppose so. So anyway, thanks for joining us, and that's it for today.